13 coming up this year. Welcome, Joe.
I think it works, right? Good? Over there? Sounds good. I'm a little taller, so bring it up a little bit. But, well, it's good to be here. It's good to be back. Full disclosure, I was already in Huron County, so it made it a little easier. This is sometimes the way I'll dress when I have a basketball game to officiate. So I was officiating a high school basketball game, and people were like, why do you still do that? And I don't know if it's because I still like getting yelled at for different reasons, you know, or if I just like really being on the court and giving somebody the fairest opportunity to compete and be successful. So I'm going to draw right back to a very good friend of mine, Ms. Jennifer Bruner, who is a justice of the courts, who swore me in. What was one of the times I know. This is my 4th time of serving, so she swore me in. I believe the last time we were down there together. And what she's being very modest about is the fact that her role and our court system is the last line of defense, because we've had governors in the General Assembly in Ohio, we've had a president who's rogue, and we've had a Congress that has looked past their duties, and all we have are the courts right now that are keeping this republic together. And so our Chief Justice left, and Maureen O'Connor, and so together those two worked really, really well together on the courts, and they were able to bring about some sort of constitutional understanding of where we're supposed to be. And if there's anything we can do to get judges who really, truly are going to look at whether it be the U.S. Constitution or the Ohio Constitution and rule appropriately, Jennifer is absolutely one that will do it, and anybody else that we can see on the courts. And we're a part of that. Right? We're a part of working with you on that. So thank you so much for coming up here, and we really want you there. We need you there. So I'm State Rep Joe Miller. I currently represent, well, pick a map, because it's gone every direction with every line here, and they move them around there. And old Jerry's getting his name used all the time, right? Old Jerry. And now currently I'm on the north side of the county of Lorain. So I have almost from Vermilion, it's kind of like the Amherst-Lorain edge, all the way over to Avon Lake. I had the north-south, which would be the west side of Lorain County, the north-south map, and then they kind of shifted and moved me. The one thing I will say is under the Senate district, the good news is I get to be back in Huron County, not just visiting, not just officiating, not just seeing friends, not coming into Norwalk for some of the good food and good times, but I'll be here because I want to represent you as your Ohio State Senator for District 13. So hopefully I will be there with your help. And it's going to take your help. And we have to do this together. We have to get Jennifer elected. We have to move forward. We've got a governor candidate in Amy Acton who's going to go through the primary, continuing to draw out the vote. She's becoming a serious, serious contender. There's one thing to have experience in campaigning, in being in politics, and there's another to not. And somehow you've got to merge those two. Keep your realness, but also understand how to actually campaign. She is doing an amazing job, Dr. Acton, of coming along as a true leader for us as a governor candidate and our next governor. So I'm excited about Amy stopping the nonsense with a veto. But we want to make sure that veto counts. We got to have House members, Brenda Buchanan. All right. We have to have senators. My younger brother there, Joe Miller, senator. That really was only 4 years ago. It's been a rough 4 years, I can promise you that. And you've seen it. Many of you have dealt with a rough 4 years. And so, as we claw back the power that they have usurped by breaking the rules, by rewriting the maps, by lying, by taking the Secretary of State, who has become what I thought was going to be one of those, I think he'll be one of the good Republicans. And completely went off the wall, off the rails, and has completely turned what should be a judiciously fair and free access to the ballot by any citizen here in Ohio to let's try to make it hard to access that ballot. And then let's cheat, lie, and persuade you and the people that are not inside baseball that this is a bad piece of language to vote on, or this really doesn't mean what it says. And let's confuse voters. And they did that. And Frank LaRose did that. And we were pushing back, but we were a small voice. We are going to be a bigger voice in 2026 because we're going to win Senate seats. We're going to gain at least 2, one here in Senate District 13, and we hope another one over in the Akron area. We're going to pick up 4 or 5, maybe even 6 more House seats. The wave becomes even bigger, and I don't want to get too excited here, but we have a chance to force the other side to hear us, because we are truly coming to the General Assembly and to the governor's office and into the courts with the people in mind. We're coming in with you. So, who the heck is Joe Miller? Like, there's a bunch of them out there, and I'm not the Holmes County or Wayne County Republican commissioner, head of the Republican Party. That's a different Joe Miller, right? And of course, it's very hard right now to have the last name Miller when you have somebody like Stephen Miller up there with all that Nazi propaganda coming out of his mouth. It's horrible. So, I was born Lorain County, Amherst, Ohio. Now, how many here started, born in a place, and eventually did this? And we went all the way around and said, holy cow, I'm back, right? Probably some people don't want me back, we'll see. But I'm back. I started at Amherst, all right? Went to school locally, went to Marion L. Steele, did 3 years of hard time with the nuns at St. Joe's. After I graduated from Steele, listen, I thought I was going to go in the military. My mom was a Marine, my dad was in the Army, my oldest brother went in the Marines, my next brother went in the Army. It's my turn. I'm a middle child. I'm thinking, their lives are okay. The military did some good stuff. I'm patriotic. I want to serve. So I came back home. I said, I got it. So I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but satellites, we're now allowing internet only if you're in the public sector of higher ed or in government sector. All right. And I'm thinking, I want to go into communications. And what military branch can I get into that's going to train me and that will pay me to work and learn to get into telecommunications and computers, you know, that TRSA, that trash 80 computer that was really cool at the one time, you know, black and white, or green and whatever. And I said the Air Force. So I'm all excited. I'm going to come home, tell my military family that I'm going in the Air Force. So I wait for my oldest brother to get home. Marines, he's out of the Marines, he comes home, he says, hey. I said, Gene, guess what? At the dinner table. Picked out where I'm going into the Air Force. Now I'm 17, I'm just starting my middle of my senior year, if I can remember it correctly. And I said, I'm going in the Air Force, and he just busts out laughing. Now he's my oldest brother, I look up to him, I idolize him, like, wanted to wear his clothes, wanted to listen to music he listened to, like, he was the guy. And I'm like, so excited to tell him, and he just starts laughing. That's the Boy Scouts, how can you go into that? No. And I felt so, like, ashamed that he was not approving of the service I'm going to go into. So I never went in. Tried 2 more times, they wouldn't give me an officer position, so I never went in the military. So I went off to community college. And it was the best 2 years of education I'd ever received. Not that public school was bad, not that the nuns didn't smack my knuckles hard enough. It was neither of the two, it was just that I was old enough to understand the importance of education. So I went to community college, transferred to BGSU, that was my undergrad, and then I left. And I started on that, let's go to Texas for a job. Because guess what, in Ohio, it was so hard to get a job in education because we were the 5th best state in the union for public education. And I went to Texas, taught for 3 years. Came back, left the relationship, said, gonna start over, do I want to stay in education? All my friends are making 3 times as much as me, having a good time. I'm a bachelor, they're bachelors. And I'm like, I'm getting out of education, I gotta make money. This $21,000 contract isn't cutting it. So I left education, went into business. Spent years as a associate director of planning, architectural engineering, design build firm. Went from there into a print production shop to be a general manager. Got trained in management. 9/11 hit. Here we go again. Guilt over not going in to the Air Force hits again. Guilt at my friends, some of them are going back in, re-upping. And that I didn't do my duty. So I tried again, but at that time, I was dating a girl in education. She was a teacher. She said, you want to go back you try to get in the military? You want to go to Afghanistan, Iraq? Not with me. I'm not going to be a military bride. And so I was weighing the difference, and I'm like, oh no, I got a good one, man. I'm hanging on to this. So I never went in. Got married, had a couple kids, stayed in education for 17 years. And while I was there, taught, coached, officially did everything. Advised, mentored. Got into city council over an issue. You know how it works. Hey, you would be great as a city council person to solve the problem that's in the neighborhood that you just moved your family into. Became a councilman, did that for 6 years. State rep opens up. Hey, you would be really great to be a state rep. And to be honest with you, education had gone from 5th to the 30s. I'm going to say 35 because it just sounds better, but the ranking keeps dropping, so like where it's going to end, I don't know. We may be down there with, I don't know, Alabama, Mississippi, or Arkansas for where we're at in education. And I said, you know what? I can do more for education as a state representative, which Brenda's going to be, right? And fighting for education. I can do more there to stop this nonsense that has continued to break apart, attack public education in Ohio. And so that's what I've done. Now I've got some options. Go back to business, go back to education, or continue to serve. I'm here Saturday afternoon because I've got more service left in me, and I got more knowledge now to be able to be even more effective down there. And if there's any time that we need somebody who believes in public education, labor unions, and our democracy, it's a guy who taught it, lived it, and believes in it. So, I'm going to go back down there. I will commit 4 years. That's the senator's term. And then I'll ask my wife for permission after 4 years. And if things are going well, then I'll do 4 more. But what I won't do, and I will commit right here, and I said it before, I will not do this flipping back and forth. You all said, and I even supported it, term limits. Now, we can argue that at a different time about good, bad, negative, positives of term limits. But I will not go back to the House because you had said 8 years, no more. And if I go in the Senate for 8, I can go back to the House. And I can keep doing this flip-flopping, and I can go till I'm 108. I will not do that. I will find some other way to serve my fellow families, friends, and neighbors and constituents when I leave and come back. But I will commit to you 4 more years as senator, 8 no more, because I believe that the people have spoken and term limits belong. Now, you know who doesn't listen to the people?
The Mannings.
The Mannings. Do you know who else doesn't listen? The Republican Party. Because you had said we believe in our public schools. And they have put the burden of cost of schools on property tax owners. But wait, you want to know why it's so expensive for property tax owners? Because the only property tax owners that are really paying into the cost of educating your kids are those that own homes. Because they took away the contributions by corporations and businesses to support the piece of the pie, the shared responsibility for educating between local, state, and federal. Right now, my colleagues, wasn't me, I voted against this budget Because this budget put the largest share of instruction on your backs for the cost of it, for public education, while going back to the 1940s, when we had this amount of share of instruction that we have today, under this new budget, we are, lack of funding, but funding public education at its lowest state share of instruction since the 1940s. That's where we're at. So of course it's going to cost homeowners more. That is unacceptable. Plain and simple. Completely unacceptable. So that's a little bit about who I am. I mean, I went off and got a couple grad degrees and love education. Understand it is a step. It is the ability to step from step to step to step to step to where you want to be in this, what I would say, capitalist system that has gone rogue. We got to put the guardrails back on it. And in America and in Ohio, we want you to be able, right, to step on the ladder and continue to step as far as you'd like to go. And my belief is government doesn't have to push you up to a step that you don't want to be, but should be there not for a handout, or for a handout, to help you put that leg on the next step and pull you up. Folks, I believe in that. And here's why I believe in that. My parents in the 70s, mixed marriage. My dad comes in, brings on my mom's 2 kids, has 3 more. We're a family of 7. And in come the late 70s, the oil embargo, companies are shut down, and my parents are struggling. Listen, I was on puffed rice and powdered milk. That was my breakfast, right? I thought it was kind of cool because I must be important because I'm getting free lunches at school. So my parents must know somebody. Kidding, and I didn't know any different. I was younger. But you know what? The government doing that allowed us to catch up and to catch our breath and to be able to continue to show grit and to move up. And my parents eventually worked themselves into a working middle class, we'll call it, right there. And so the same thing is today. I went to college, all on grants. I had to work through college. I was part of the deal, and I had Pell Grants, and my parents gave me what they could. And I took on a lot of debt, but it is not the debt that is today. And by the way, if we truly believed in education, the General Assembly would be making state public education a lot more affordable. I will give flowers to Governor DeWine. I don't do it often. But here's what he did do. He said, I'm going to help the smartest and the most well-off kids that have the best chance, or their parents are both teachers, that have gotten their kids prepared to be in the top 15% of their class. We're going to give them a governor's scholarship. He wanted a legacy. That's a start. That does help. It's $5,000 a year, $20,000 total for 4 years. You have to go to a public school. It's something, because not every kid that is in the top 15% is already wealthy. But it's still focusing on those who have already had an advantage at birth. As one of my superintendents said, my kids, and you can probably figure out the city or the school district in Lorain County, my kids pretty much are born with a bachelor's degree. We're just trying to get them ready for doctoral and master's. And yeah, pretty much sounds about right. Not everybody's there. We got to help them get there. General Assembly can do that. Well, we can do it, but we decided we're going to cut taxes for the rich. We're going to hand out sweetheart deals to the wealthy and well-connected. Here, Haslam, thank you for that donation to the Republican Party. We now are going to cut you a $600 million check of your money. Of your money. Folks, this has been going on far too long. And the Supreme Court won't do anything about it because it's all the governor's son and his buddies. We have lost the Supreme Court. We have lost the General Assembly. We have lost the governor. We have lost one of the most important positions, Secretary of State. We need to get it back. All right. Anybody gets appointed, comes through the Senate. We'll be a part of that. Folks, I want to leave some time for questions, but I know last time I came up and talked, you didn't get to really know much about me. But that's That's why, just ask Karen. Ask Karen, or Lily and Laura have had to deal with me over in Lorraine County for a while. Laura's, if you can see, she's shining because it's her birthday, and I want to make sure that everybody knows. Just happy birthday, Laura! Happy birthday. She didn't think I was going to do that, but yes. So more than just a Facebook post, you get a big shout out here.
And it's 6'7".
Oh boy, here we go. So now that's going to education where the kids are at. So with that, I guess Kate, you tell me what you would like from me, and I have to get a new picture because my wife says I look like a kid. She's so happy I put this on my face.
Thank you so much, Joe. We love to hear from you. So I would like to hear from you as well, as someone who's been in the State House for a while now, who's been in elections and gone through all of this. The same question I've posed a couple times tonight. How do we get young people involved? How do we get unaffiliated, unengaged voters? If not now, with all of this going on, is there just no hope to get these people involved if they're just digging their head in the sand and not paying attention, if the kids don't think it matters, I do know that that's a big feeling, especially here in Ohio, that why bother voting? There's a super majority, they always win, they always do whatever they want. So what do you say to that?
That's great. So first off, there's no super majority, there's no maps for the state across the state. Let them know that coming out is going to impact statewide candidates. That they can make the difference, that they can be part of something truly special. The first outright female governor elected in the state of Ohio. Right? We can have a stop, somebody who can veto the nonsense that attacks their friends because they're LGBTQ. We can get somebody that can stop the nonsense about saying to our youth today, you don't know what you need to know. We're going to tell you, and colleges shouldn't allow you to be free thinkers. We're going to go in and stop that liberal, commie, democrat, bull crap that they like to push. We want you to have a chance. Right now, because generation ahead of you has checked out from 18 to 30, and they have. And honestly, a lot of people have checked out. Because of that, though, the standard of living for those who are coming out of high school is going to be lower than their parents. It's going to be lower than their parents. You are not going to live like me. Now, my son says that's a good thing, Dad, because I plan to make a lot more money than you. And I said, well, that's because we're in public service. And so they have to get involved and to change what the course and recorrect the course of Ohio and America right now. And it isn't just about Joe Miller in Senate District 13 or Brenda Buchanan in District 54. Well, they move around, flip a coin, which one is it today, right? And it's not about just the Secretary of State. It's about getting out there and saying we're going to course correct from top to bottom in 2026. We're going to get a Congress that is going, and this is key, a Congress, and Dan's back there, a Congress that will put a set of handcuffs, preferably, but if not, rules and laws and guidelines on how the executive branch can behave. Folks, they're ripping people out of their homes that are U.S. citizens. They are shooting again today in Minnesota. I hate to break it to you, it's the second. They are doing things that no person as a U.S. citizen should ever have to go through. We thought we were done with that when we left the 60s. Right? We said, you know what? We're putting women and minorities on the same playing field, and the talk of, ready for this? Yeah, we are tired of you getting DEI'd and letting somebody unqualified come in. You can't get more unqualified than what's going on in Congress, in the presidential department. Listen, ICE already had a bad name because there was like, if you couldn't get the FBI and DHS, whatever, there's always ICE. That was like the bottom of the barrel of federal law enforcement. I hate to say it, but that's what it was. They have taken that bar and that standard and dropped it a whole nother level. That's them saying, well, we got rid of DEI. Well, now we can put any idiot in that position that's willing to incite fear and pain onto its own citizens. And you have to be the worst piece of shit to get into a position and thrive on that. Sorry, I know it's probably not proper, but I'm telling you, that is just disgusting. And we are lowering the bar because nobody's holding them accountable to a standard of what a first world democratic republic such as ours should expect from its government. It's not getting it. It's not getting it at the national level. It's not getting it at the state level. And damn, it's not even getting it at the local level. We need you to stand up and say enough. Now, you don't have to go there and protest and, start wrestling with ICE agents. Please don't wrestle with local law enforcement. They're trained, they're professionals. You'll get a bad apple every once in a while. They're there to do it the right way. But we have to hold them accountable. We have to hold everybody accountable. Teachers, support staff, nurses, everybody, doctors, hospitals. But I'll tell you what, all those that were initially going into those roles were doing it because they cared about the people. They cared about children and teaching. They cared about patients and nursing. They cared about policing and keeping safe. And I have a family of my oldest brother, law enforcement, retired. Uncle, law enforcement, retired. Veterans in law enforcement is very important to me. But we have to continue to hold them accountable. Everybody. And we do that by just saying, be American, be empathetic, be loving. If you truly want to call yourself a Christian, be loving. Do the least. Do for the least of my brothers and sisters you would for me. We are not doing that. We're not watching it. We're not seeing it. And therefore, we have to point a finger at it. We have to shine a light on it, and we have to hold it accountable. And I will help you do that at the state level.
Thank you. In the audience, how do you plan on creating more jobs in Ohio? And what kind of jobs would you focus on? And my addition to this is, how would you attract young people back to the state that are fleeing in droves?
Yes, our biggest export is our kids. It is. They're leaving and they're not coming back. Job openings and opportunities, places that they can enjoy to be at, right? And then also, ready for this? A state that truly is tolerant of others. The next generation wants tolerance of differences in people. That's what they want. So how would I do that? First off, I'm a firm believer in workforce development. And that means that if they want to go into the trades, and I'm a big supporter of unions. I've been in 2 of them all my life. I've been in 2 different unions. And I believe in unions because they train, right? They prepare them to do the job, and then they protect them when the employer wants to take advantage of them. So unions, to me, that is a must. We need to train our workforce to do advanced manufacturing, to understand technology, to make sure that our trades, that we can call and say, can we get a plumber here? Well, it's a 3-week wait. I don't know about you, leaking water is not something to wait 3 weeks for. And you're going to pay $125 an hour. We need more people doing that. 1, brings price down, and 2, gives more people an opportunity to have a standard of living that we believe in. So not only that, I think it takes an investment. But here's the problem. We in the state of Ohio, the state of Ohio has decided Columbus knows best. If we want to slap a data center in your backyard, on your farm, we're going to do it. Because we're going to give tax breaks to our buddies and well-connected so that you can deal with water that's contaminated, electric bills that are going through the roof because of it, and you can thank me for what I just did for you. And that's what they're doing right now. That's not how you handle it. You need community input. People need to be able to say, I want this zone a certain way. I want to grow this here. We are not doing a good enough job of making sure that when we invest in our people, we invest in our land, we invest in our industries that have made America strong, agriculture, manufacturing, healthcare, and honestly, education. Our state has a lot of higher ed. A lot. Because again, we produce great, intellectually strong, capable college graduates, and then we export them out so they don't come back and take what they learned and do great things here in Ohio. So I think that's just a start.
Okay. I have a question for you about...
Sure. Uh-oh, Kate's, well, she got a personal question.
No,
Where's this going?
I just don't... I think any of us who are involved with this, you always get this, oh, you should run for office, you should run for office. And the first thing I think is, yuck. No, I would never be able to handle going to the State House or anywhere and hearing the opposite party just spewing out. I mean, how do they justify things like the school vouchers and the tax breaks for rich people? I mean, how do they do that when they know it's going to hurt so many people? Like, I don't understand how you deal with that, and how do they get away with it every time? Just because there's so many of them?
So, it's an onion. We'll get one petal at a time. First off, why do I do it? You know what? I was a middle child. I had some really tough older brothers and 2 younger siblings, girl and boy. Hardcore, intellectual. You know, I was in the middle, and I always had to kind of solve the problems. You know, try to bring about a understanding of like how to keep the peace. So for me, I hear a lot of people from different angles. On social media, I'm really out there, and I'm starting to push back against some of this nonsense. I can't sit quiet anymore. I can't look out the window as they're Gestapoing down the street, pulling people, American citizens, out of their cars or whatever. I just can't watch that and call myself American. I'm done. I'm done sitting quiet on that. But I try to bring truth to power down there. I try to let them know that their idea is going to hurt people. But in the end, they don't care because they have one rigged system, understand that many people, young and older, are checked out, and then others have decided based on family, my family was always Republican or my family was always Democrat, to not hold their elected officials accountable, not because they're an RRD, but because of the votes and the outcomes that they bring to the table in whatever role they are in. And what I think we fail to do is to hold them accountable. One of the things that why I keep doing this, and why I'm willing to sign up for at least 4 more years, maybe 8 of all this turmoil and tension, is because God's blessed me with a gift of being able to handle it, to take it on. Listen, I told you where I came from today. Like, I can promise you, both coaches got in my ear and let me know that, one, I missed the call, they didn't like it, things aren't fair, and some of them scream and yell and go crazy and get up, and it is what it is, and you have to kind of bring them down and say, this is the rules, this is how I saw it, this is the angle. If you saw it that way, okay. I try to bring that to everything I do. And I believe in doing, if you do well for your neighbor and you do well for others, good things come upon you. And so, I'm married, so I put my wife first. She'll let me know if I don't. And so I've learned how to manage that. So why do I do this? I do this because I think I can handle the job, and that I can sit there and in committee and stick up, ready for this. I've stuck up for things that I'm like, that's not me, I don't understand it, but it is a constitutional right, and it should not be infringed upon, and therefore I will fight to protect it. So listen, like, I'm a straight, old, white Catholic male, man, like as vanilla as you can get. And I'm in my committee, as a ranking member, pushing back against the anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ legislation, just bantering my colleagues, holding them accountable for their bad behavior, calling it out in committee. That's not me. I don't understand it. Like, I'm not trans, I'm not gay, but I know it is their fundamental right. And I'm going to go on the other side. Larry Householder, convicted, maybe going to get out of federal with Trump. Trump may pardon him. He's pardoned every other criminal, so why not him? And I want to just finish with Larry Householder. Larry Householder, I voted against for Speaker of the House. Those votes are right up there. I'm willing to own everything I do and take people saying I disagree with you. And I voted against him. And I voted against the leader of our caucus, or she became leader of our caucus, because she undermined the current leader, who was voting against Householder, who I knew, after doing my research, the FBI was crawling up his butt the first time he was in the House. And I said, I can't vote for that. My labor, half of my labor was like, we support you. You have to vote for him as Speaker. I said, I can't vote for somebody who's that corrupt. So I didn't vote. I was putting time out the first 2 years. Like, I got nothing. Like, it was a struggle my first 2 years of being the state rep. In my own caucus, with the other caucus. They wanted him out because they realized they got their hand caught in the cookie jar, so they're going to be like, oh, that was him, not me. So half the Republicans are trying to distance themselves, and he's trying to hold them to account, and he says to them, I'm going to stay here. You can knock me out of my speaker. You can revote. Fine. I voted. I'm like, yeah, I voted to get him out of speaker. And they took his committees away. They made him just a member sitting there doing just about nothing. Except for he's allowed to go into their caucus. And he can argue and push back and do stuff. So he was becoming a problem for the Republicans. Now, you want to get rid of somebody out of the General Assembly, you got one way, unless they do it on their own and commit and be convicted of a felony. There's one way. You go to the judge in their district and say, I got 15 signatures, or 15% of the signatures for this district, and I want you to rule that he was not following the Constitution, that he was unconstitutional, that he was not representing us, and I want him removed. That's how you remove him. They wanted to remove him by saying he was civil disobedience. And they're like, no, he never attacked anybody on the floor. He never did anything that fell under that definition. So therefore, me voting would have been unconstitutional. He would not have gotten his fundamental rights. Right? He would not have been able to be tried and convicted by a jury. They just immediately wanted to do that. They wanted to try and convict him by their vote. And I stood up and I said, and I was the only Democrat, I took hell for this. I said, I will not walk over somebody's due process because they have an R next to their name or a D next to their name. Folks, I took an oath to the Constitution. So that's the C that comes first before the D or the R. I didn't swear to the Democratic platform. I didn't swear to the Republican platform. I swear to the Constitution. So I'm a constitutionalist first, and when you step on constitutional rights, that's where I'm going to come protect you. I don't care if you're R, D, or independent. So that's where I'm at.
One real quick question. I think it's super important.
You guys are patient. So patient.
For all of us here, because I get this question a lot on our group online. What's the point of calling? Should we continue to call? And I'm always saying yes, and I hope that's right. But it does feel like it's not enough. So what do you think, as somebody who actually is in the State House, is that something that we should continue to do, and is it having any effect?
Okay. So there's one way you can listen, folks. It's jamming them up. It's in legal terms, it's dumping a bunch of boxes of paperwork on council, so that they have to work and get more and more people to go through it. So the more emails that come out, the harder it is for their side to go through them all, figure out what's important, what's not. You're calling constantly into that rep or that senator or the governor's office, eats up the phone lines, and it jams them up. They're going to do what they're going to do, but let's not make it easy for them. So I'm good with both those. It gets an email gets on public record as well. Letting those who support you know that you're against something kind of also makes them feel like, hey, I'm doing this for the right reason, and also gives us a reach out and say, hey, like, how can you help support us to turn things around? So that's important as well. And so it's so good to see youth here. I just love it. Not that everybody's old like me or us, but it's good to see youth here. But thank you. That's a good question.
So how can we support you? Last question, because we are running out of
All right.
time.
Yeah, she's giving me the cares. I'm trying not to give it
You got
away.
the-
So how you can support me? Of course, listen. We're trying to put together a team in Huron County. Julia back there, Daniel, so I'm trying to get some young people involved. Julia's going to be spearheading a big chunk of Huron County with me. I know Karen would normally do it, but she's like, I'm stretched thin. Her and I sit on the board of DEMS 101, so I know how busy she is. Or I would be like, Karen, I need you. Lead my team in Huron. But we're trying to put together a team, and it's going to become a coordinated team. You could also, www.joemillerforohio.com, joemillerforohio.com, F-O-R, not the full. And you can go on there and pick what you want, learn about me, give me critique on there, like, hey, your website is horrible. And I'll go back and tell them, fix it. Put this issue on there, reach out to them. Let me know when I can be at a house party. I have a lot of people are like, hey, we're having a quick, cookies and milk before everybody goes to bed. Or whatever it may be, and we're putting something together. Would you come here and meet 15 of my friends? We'll also try to raise some money because I know that's going to be important. Folks, listen, they spent $1.2 million on the last Senate race. They're going to spend 1.2, maybe more, because they don't want the seat flipped back to blue, because it was blue at one time. And that's okay. I've raised 100 already. I need 300 more. Once I get there, we ain't losing. We're not losing, because that's enough money that I can get to every place I need, get the team in place, and I can get enough signs, I can get enough shirts, I can get enough lit, I can get enough people on the doors, I can get enough support with that. It doesn't take, after there's diminishing returns, but I got to get to that number. So if you can support that way, great. Wear a shirt, wear any of these candidate shirts, talk to people. That's how you can support. I think that's important. So thank you all for being so patient. Uh-oh. Gentlemen with the best. You want to catch me up or you want to catch me out loud? It's your call.
I was on a school board for 15 years.
Thank you. That's not an easy job.
No, it isn't. But one thing you didn't mention, farmers get hit hard by
Yes.
reevaluation in taxes.
Absolutely.
I have a farm, this year my land taxes, because of the school snap, doubled.
Is that the CUAV part or just your homestead part?
Both.
Both? Okay. Because they should be different percentages.
Yes. But what's happened, our county auditor came in and hired somebody that comes through and tells what the land's worth. So our taxes double.
Did you appeal?
No appeal to it.
Oh, there's an appeal process. They probably didn't tell you that. That's welcome to government.
Well,
Yeah. So one thing that I'll just say, and I know Kate and everybody, we got to go, but I will say this. I sit purposely on Agriculture Committee in the House as the ranking member. I only get one ranking. I could have done it in education, could have done it in workforce development, I could have done all these different things. I chose agriculture because it's so important to Ohio. It's so important to Lorain County, southern part. It's so important to Huron County. Folks, listen. I picked beans for 2 summers, and I said, I'll never be a farmer, Mom and Dad. It's not going to happen. I didn't realize that, but that's not all farming. But I was also 8 years old picking beans. True story. And so, farming, we need to hear from you, and we need to make sure that that balance of skin in the game doesn't overload our farmers, overload our business, overload our families that have a home, that knocks our elderly out of a seat, right? It knocks them out of their home. That's what we have to do. They're not doing it right now because they're taking that money and they're giving it to the richest of the rich in Ohio and giving it to the millionaires. They're writing checks to them. We can fight back. And I'll say what Jennifer, and I'll leave it with this, what Jennifer said. I say, Jennifer, sorry. Justice Bruner. We get to know each other very well in the same things we do, so I apologize, no disrespect to Justice Bruner, but like she said, just getting small donations in there is so very important, and just helping where you can. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for having me.
Thank you so much, Joe. Okay, everybody, before you go, I just want to remind everyone, if you didn't sign any of the petitions or you didn't get to all of them, make sure you do it on the way out. Just check that you get the right county. We will be holding hopefully some more town halls, a little less shorter time frame throughout the next few months. So keep an eye on Firelands Indivisible, our Facebook page, and thank you very, very much for coming out. Please be safe in this